afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul, and I am a nerd, and you are here for the, let's see if I can get it right this time, the January 2018, I said 2017 at the TABS Virtual User Group meeting, the January 2018 PracticeMaster Virtual User Group meeting from Attorney Computer Systems, where today we will be talking about renaming contacts. Mary Jo will take that topic, and virtual fields and why you care, and I will take that topic. And so now, without any further ado, I'm going to press all the magic buttons, yes, all of the magic buttons, and get us to where we need to be to talk about, oh, we didn't open it up, Mary Jo, where we need to be to talk about PracticeMaster. Hold on one second. You want to tell a lawyer joke while we're waiting, Mary Jo? No, she doesn't. She never wants to tell a lawyer joke. Okay, we're going to NFR, we're going to PracticeMaster. Stop moving the mouse. And here we are. Okay, Mary Jo, take it away.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay, so renaming contacts, it happens all the time. We may have contacts that have gotten married, divorced. We may have entered them improperly to begin with. Maybe it was spelled wrong. Maybe we have a company that, used to be, one thing and now it's an LLC. Whatever the reasons are that we need to rename contacts, it's something that can be a very common practice. And so you really want to know what you're doing so that when that comes up, you can go ahead and just easily rename them to what they need to be. Sometimes another example would be locations. Maybe you get somewhere that has a second location and we want to add in a location on that contact. So if we have an existing contact that needs to be renamed, and let's say I went into a client, so let's go over to our contact list here. I am in sample data, so we'll see what we've got in here. So here's two different locations of Attorney Computer Systems. And so when we're renaming, you have to remember that we're renaming the contact ID. When we rename, we're looking, this is how we look up a client. We may have to change a full name or something like that. If I went into Attorney Computer Systems Dundee and wanted to change the full name, I could do that. But the way I'm looking it up, the contact ID is what we're renaming. So it's how we are internally looking up a contact. This Attorney Computer Systems parentheses Dundee or Attorney Computer Systems parentheses Toledo is not going to be what would show on a bill, for instance, if I was going to send this to a client. The full name would show on the bill, which is just simply Attorney Computer Systems. So renaming contacts, first thing, is that we are renaming how we're looking up the client internally. So let's go do one. Let's say that we want to rename me. It looks like down here, Leanne's got a couple of different places she's added herself in as being different. But let's say that I got remarried or, somebody got divorced. I don't want to use me as an example of that, but maybe I'll use Barry here. Barry would be a good one. Let's say that Barry wouldn't change. Julie Carter, here she is. So Julie Carter gets married. Let's be on the positive here, okay? So Julie Carter gets married, and we need to change her name. So what we're going to do is in PracticeMaster, we're going to go under Maintenance, Renumber, and I know that's confusing because we think we're not renumbering her, we're renaming her. But underneath the Renumber menu is where we find the Rename Contact. If I were out on my task folders, it would be the same thing. If I'm under Maintenance, it's still under Renumber Utilities, but I would still find renaming underneath the renumber. So don't get confused when it says renumber. We are going under renumber, but we're going to choose the rename contact. So when we bring this up, it's going to ask you what is the old contact ID. So we're going to bring up Carter/Julie, and now we're going to change her name, and let's say that she gets married to Mr. Brown. So now her name is Julie Brown. So I've just took the old client ID, and now I've changed it to what I want it to be. And then down here is the second section of this. This is, do we want to update the name fields? And we do. We don't want to have to go back and open up and change the full name in this instance, because in this instance, Julie Carter is no longer going to be referred to as Julie Carter. We need her full name to also change to Julie Brown. So by checking this update name fields, hitting my tab key on my keyboard, it's now going to update the full name on her contact record and her last name on the contact record. And then we simply say, okay. We're going to say yes. And it's going to go back to any record that was previously using Julie Carter, and it's going to change them to Julie Brown. And if we come back out here, I now see Julie Brown here. And if she were a client, any client she was attached to, if she were in any other records that we've referred to her as like a people record, her name would change on those as well. So we can go and change that in one fell swoop. Now let's say that we want to change Brown Court Reporting Services, and let's say they have a second location now. So we may want to rename this and put in these parentheses where it is. So let's take Brown Reporting Services, go to Maintenance, renumber, rename the contact, and we will start typing in Brown Court Reporting Service. And so maybe this first one, I want to be the original location. So I'm just going to change the original record and say, okay, everything I have in here right now is always at the Toledo location. And we'll put a parenthesis in there. Now in this case, I don't want to update the full name, because anywhere that the full name shows on, that goes out to a client, whether this was a bill, whatever, I don't want to update that for this. I want that to remain as Brown Court Reporting Services. But for my internal, and I know that this is going to be the Toledo location, I'll just change the ID. Say okay, yes, it's going to go out and change all of those records. And then I could add a new contact for Brown County Reporting Services, parenthesis, the new location, Detroit. And then put in the address and everything. But again, the full name would still be Brown Court Reporting Services. I want to say Brown County. I just keep wanting to say Brown County. I know. I don't know why. But Brown Court Reporting Services will still be the full name for both of those records. So you can go through your list, and if you had spelled something incorrectly, again, here's Barry CPA. Now, you probably wouldn't want to put in Barry CPA as a contact. That's an incorrect format. I wouldn't look up CPA for Barry. Maybe his name is Barry Jones, and I want to say that he is a CPA. I don't know why that is that way, but this is another instance where you could go in, and I could rename that contact to be Jones/Barry and maybe give him a contact category of a CPA, something like that. So as you look through your contact list, the idea here is to clean up all the junk, get all the things that are misspelled or are duplicates, or we're going to talk more about some other ways to clean up duplicates in another session. But any spelling errors, anybody that has changed names, sometimes you might have John and Mary Smith as one contact, and you want to split those apart. That's another reason that you might rename the contact. So there's lots of different things in there just with the rename that you can go in and you can fix. Paul?
Well, I can't tell you how excited I am to be in this position right now, because I'm very old, and Mary Jo is always saying, don't do it that way, do it this way. So I get to point out that you also have right here under Take Action the ability to rename a contact right from there. So I get 10 points for that. Patty, got that? 10 points? Okay.
I'll give you 20, Paul.
Oh, she'll give me 20 points. This is exciting. Okay, so I'm going to talk about virtual fields. What the heck is a virtual field? Well, a virtual field is a field that doesn't really come from the record in question, that instead comes from a record that's linked to it. So let me give you an example. I'm going to take you into the calendar, and I'm going to pull up any calendar record, and I'm going to show you that this is linked to a client, and it could also be linked to a contact. So what that means is I could pull a field, we call them virtual fields, onto this screen from the client file. And the way I do that, and I'll explain the way in more detail in a second, but the way I do it in a very short description is I go into File Maintenance and I add a virtual field into the calendar file that points to the field that I want to pull in. Okay, so let's pretend that quite frequently when I am scheduling things for clients, it would be helpful if I could tell what city the client was in just by looking at the calendar record. So I want to take the city from the client record and have it display in the calendar record so that I am able to see in the calendar record what city that client's in. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the city where the appointment is, but it tells me what city the client's in. Could be for a lot of reasons. Maybe I want to know what time zone. I want to know when I what time it is at that point. So what I'm going to do, another good example is who's the responsible attorney for this matter. Okay, so who's the person that is going to be concerned about this calendar item because they're the responsible attorney for the matter. So let's pick one of those and let's go add that field to the calendar file. Now, I'm going to get nerdy here for a minute, and so I want you to sit back for a second and understand that if you don't understand what I'm about to tell you, just know that it can be done. That's more than half the battle. If you're thinking to yourself, oh, well, there's no way I could display the primary timekeeper's information on this screen, you're wrong. Do you have to know how to do it to make it happen? No, because you can call us or you can go to somebody else in your firm or maybe your IT people. Somebody will know how to do this. So if you're uncomfortable with what I'm about to do, don't worry. Just understand that it's possible.
And most people in the firm don't even have rights to do this.
That's correct.
So it's really only managers that probably would have this right anyway.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into file maintenance, and I'm going to very quickly log off users. Who do we have? Ron. Yeah. Out here. Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah. No, I'm just going to log them off. Okay. Now I'm going to go back into maintenance. There we go. And into the calendar file. And I'm going to add a field. And I'm going to call it PRTKPR, just for the sake of speed. And it's going to be a virtual field. And it wants to know what I'm looking it up on. Yeah, okay, that isn't going to work. So we're going to actually, because we don't have that link. It's from the client file. Yeah. And we're basing it on, we want the primary timekeeper. Now, all we're going to get is the number because the number is all that's stored in the file that we link to. So I'm going to look for, it may not be able to do that because that's a key field. So we're going to go back to our original thing, and we're going to say we're going to add the city. So I'm just going to get rid of this field. So we're going to add the client city. I'm going to add a field. It'll be client city. And it's going to be a virtual field, and it's going to come from the client file. And it is going to be the city right there, okay? And I'm going to call it, at least as far as the way it's going to appear on the screen, I'm going to call it client city. That's the name, that's the full text. It's a virtual field. It's coming from the client, the related client file, and it is the field of city. Going to go ahead and accept these changes, and I'm going to go into what we call the form designer. Again, probably not something that you have rights to, so don't worry about that. Just know that it can be done, know that somebody there can do it, or we can do it, or your IT people can do it, as long as they have the rights. And I'm going to go into the form designer, and I'm going to add that new field we just created. It's going to be at the bottom. And I'm just going to pull it down here. I'm not going to get too worried about how it lines up because Mary Jo knows I'm very picky about how these things line up. You'll notice right here that you can see that it's shaded. I'll explain that in a second, but I want to point that out. I'm going to run the form. Okay, and I'm actually going to go now out to the calendar where we were, just because that's going to make more sense to you. And when I pull this up, and there it is. Now the client city is the test for this particular client. Let's find a different client or a different meeting that's tied to a different client. And that client doesn't have a city. Yeah, there's no client. So let's assign it to Michael Larson. And we will pick his workers' comp case. And now it's Lincoln, because that's the city he is in. So if we go back in, oh, it wasn't in there, sorry. Hold on. right down here. There we have it. We've added a field to the calendar file that tells me what city the client is in. Now we have two files that we link to from the calendar record directly, the client and the contact file. So we can add anything from the related contact record and anything from the related client record, with limited exceptions. As you saw, primary timekeeper number was not coming in. But things like city, state, address, phone, maybe you want the phone number of the client so that you can call them if they're not there, or maybe you want the phone number of the contact, the person that you're actually meeting with. Any of these things can come into here. We've got a lot of examples of why we would do this, but it's most important to know that whatever your need is, we can usually handle it with a virtual field. Now, you'll remember I pointed out that this field is shaded. Although I can highlight the text link in and I can copy the text link in, you'll have to believe that I'm hitting all the buttons on my keyboard right now and I cannot type in that field. Why can't I type in that field? Because it's a virtual field. It really is not part of this calendar record. It's part of the client record. So if I wanted to go back to the client file, I would be able to edit that city, but I'm not able to edit it here. You cannot edit a virtual field. You can only show it. But that's what they're for. They're virtual references to a different file to pull that information from that different file in so that you can display it on the screen of another record, like the calendar record, like this example. So there you have it. That is today's VUG. Next month, we're going to talk about printing contact usage info right from the contact file, so you can print a list of all the different records that this particular contact is tied to, and Mary Jo is going to take that topic. And I'm going to talk about merging duplicate contacts. Today, Mary Jo talked about renaming a contact to clean up your contact file. I'm talking next month about merging contacts, so that if you end up with two attorney computer systems and you really only need one, you can't just delete one of them. You have to merge the two together, and we'll cover that topic next month. Of course, it wouldn't be a live event at Attorney Computer Systems if we didn't take you into our website to show you how you can get to all of the exciting content that we have as we record everything that we do. So if you go to our website and click on the word videos, either hover over it and see a list, but I prefer to click on it and go to a page that describes in greater detail the 6 video titles that we have. We do record 9 different videos each month, and you'll find them all here with the exception of my rants that show up here as a video blog. I guess rants is not a very flattering title, so we call them video blogs. But everything else is here. And we have 4 live events. You happen to be in one of our virtual user group meetings. We have 3 of them, and you're in the PracticeMaster virtual user group meeting. We also have a coffee pot webinar. And then we have 2 pre-recorded titles. We have the eBytes video series that Mary Jo does every month. She does 3 of these each month. 1 on tabs, 1 on PracticeMaster, 1 on World Docs. These are short little 2, 3, 4-minute videos that take something really cool that we can describe very quickly and put them out there. We have our longer format Paul and Mary Jo show. We record 1 of these each month on a topic that changes from month to month and in a program that changes from month to month. And these are usually longer. They're 8 to 10 minutes, sometimes 15, 20 minutes, depending on how broad we are and how much detail we want to get into. Where we take a broader topic that can't be explained in 2 or 3 minutes, and we either I or Mary Jo will just give you the full story on that. We also, of course, have our live events, the 3 virtual user group meetings on my monthly webinar series, where I look at products that are add-ons or extensions of the functionality in either tabs or PracticeMaster or World Docs. If we click, for instance, on the PracticeMaster virtual user group meeting more info button, we will be taken to that page where we have a description of the PM virtual user group meeting. We have information on the next event, which of course is February now. 2 links to register when it's a live event, and both links are the same. Some people just don't like to click on something when they can't see what they're clicking on, so we have both links. And then as you scroll down, you will find pre-recorded versions of everything we've ever done. Now here's the one we're in right now, which it says coming soon, currently in post-production. That will be up on our site in a matter of a few days. It really varies from 1 week to the next as to how quickly we get them up there, but usually it's up there at least at the latest within a week or 2. And then as they do show up here, you will see the full recorded version that you can simply click on and start watching, and you're set to go. You can also simply type something here. Maybe you want to learn about emailing statements, so you might type the word email and either pick from the list that pops up right away, or simply hit enter and go to the longer format list that will show you a little bit of detail on each title that has the word email in the description. So there you have it. This content is out there 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, except leap year, then it's 366. So please take advantage of it. It's there for you to use. Everybody have a good rest of the day and a good rest of the month, and we will see you in February. Bye-bye.